back here at our gym challenge, Premier Challenge number, I don't know, it's some number. Round number 5 of Swiss, that is what I know. I also know that I'm Dennis, and then that's Fuecoco. And we have our best and brightest here for round number 5, Keanu, Inosanto, and Giovanni Costa. Keanu with the Fluttermane Chiyu, Tornadus Incarnate, Urshifu, Single Strike, Glamora, and Ogerpon Wellspring. On Geo's side, Golden Go, Incineroar, Ogerpon Wellspring, Fluttermane, Urshifu Single Strike, and for a Giraffe. We've seen this team from Geo quite a bit. And we've seen the Fluttermane Chiyu Glamora a little bit. We saw it in the last game. See how they decide to stagger each of these teams so far. As much as we have seen Geo. Haven't been here in a bit. Geo hasn't been here in a bit. And in any case, plenty of adaptations to make on your team over time, as well as plenty of changes to your playstyle that you may see with your team. Keanu is going to lock in, and we're going to get underway for this round 5. Both these players at 3-1, both very likely to make it to top cut, but I think the way I did the math, it's not guaranteed. I think there might be one 3-2 that does not make it to top cut. That is GTV math I have done. Not 100% sure of that though. In any case, round number 5 getting underway. Game number 1. Fluttermane Ogerpon, the lead from Geo. And Fluttermane Urshifu, the lead from Keanu. This is Focus Sash Urshifu, so it will be slower than the Ogerpon. And on top of that, this is booster. They're both booster speed. They are both booster speed Fluttermane. And I'm not sure which one's faster. I think the faster one's Keanu. But in any case, that will be important because an Icy Wind could really change up the speed matchup here. And it'll be Geo switching out the Ogerpon there. Switching in the Incineroar, going to drop the attack of the Urshifu if it decides to go for something other than Wicked Blow. See the early Terra as well. It's the Terra Fairy Fluttermane on Geo's side, I believe. The detect onto the Urshifu. We'll see the Moonblast. Ooh, the Moonblast aimed at the Urshifu. Got the good detect in time. Fluttermane going to go with a nice little Icy Wind. This is the Incineroar, but that's not the priority target. The priority target is that Fluttermane, which now you have the speed drop on it. And that should mean the Urshifu outspeeds. Which will then mean that it has a couple more options on what to do about it, although nothing here really does that much damage to the Fluttermane. Wicked Blow should still do a decent chunk. Now the question from Keanu, what to do here? Not much to do about that. I mean, it doesn't feel like Fluttermane should be a defensive difficulty. It missed detect there, trying to block the fake out, which did not get to do that. Dazzling Gleam comes through, little chunk of damage, but the Moonblast will definitely get this Urshifu right out of there with the fake out switch in. Nice play there by Geo, getting the fake out user in and getting the fake out user in, getting the value out of that. Nicely done, nicely done. Ogerpon will come in for Keanu for the first time. Saw Ogerpon on Geo's side, but we haven't seen the Ogerpon on Keanu's side. Once again, not a lot more damage this time being threatened by Keanu from that Ogerpon. Plenty of damage threatened against both the Fluttermane and the Incineroar. The Terrestrial is still available, which is also a potential option if Keanu wants to get a little tricky here. He's faster now. Sonora swap out for Geo. The Ogerpon will switch back in. He'll eat an Ivy Cudgel. Will not eat a Moonblast. It's gonna take crazy damage against that Moonblast. Geo's booster speed Fluttermane's still faster, and that Moonblast still gonna do a lot of damage. It is the Horn Leech aimed at the Ogerpon. Nice read there from Keanu to pick up the knockout. Do some serious damage as well. That'll drop the Ogerpon and leave just one Pokemon remaining for Geo alongside that Fluttermane. Just one set of Pokemon, I guess you could say. And it's the Furgiraffe. It's the Life Orb variant. Hyper Voice, Psychic, Protect, Trick Room. Another Moonblast should drop the Ogerpon. Psychic, the only thing that can hit the Fluttermane. The easy answer for Geo right now. There aren't a lot of good answers for Geo, to be totally honest. A lot more options open to Keanu right now, but none of them that much better than just hitting. We hold here and wait on the decision making. Again, this is round number 5. Both players at 3 and 1, both likely to make it to top cut. Fluttermane Protect, Ogerpon Spiky Shield, so we'll see the double Protect here. Not gonna do much other than just sit here for a turn. Furgiraffe will Protect as well. Moonblast out of Fluttermane. Could have seen the mythical Quadruple Protect, but did not get to do that. And now we resume where we left off. Giovanni doesn't have much better options than Moonblast and Psychic. Keanu doesn't have much better options than just hitting, but does have the option to switch out if it feels at all useful. Does have the Terra as well, and that will be what we get. It's going to be the Terra Water Ogerpon Wellspring, of course, with that Embody Aspect special defense bonus. Always a fantastic boost there. And the Moonblast used into the Furgiraffe. Okay damage, but not great. The Moonblast the other way into the Ogerpon should not be enough to knock out. Oh, the critical hit! The critical hit goes through the special defense bonus, and that could be enough for Geo to make it out of this battle. Just a pinch of luck on that one, and the Trick Room going to actually swap around the speed priorities, so Geo's slower booster speed Fluttermane is now the faster one. And with Chiyu switching in, Geo's in a pretty good spot. Sometimes you just need a pinch of luck in Pokemon, and that's what Geo got there with the critical hit. Ogerpon not able to get any hit off. Still an opportunity for Keanu here. The Fluttermane going to switch out. Incineroar going to switch in. Going to take hits quite a bit better than that Fluttermane, of course. Not going to do anything with Intimidate. Furgiraffe going to Protect. Stall out this turn. Chiyu, the only potential target of the Fake Out once Incineroar decides to use that next turn. And Chiyu is Choice Specs, I believe. Yeah, it's Choice Specs, so I won't be able to do anything about that. Dazzling Gleam, nice little chunk onto the Incineroar between the two moves. But now the Furgiraffe has a free turn where at least it will not be hit by Chiyu. Chiyu will not be getting any damage off this turn, that's for sure. Any turns of Trick Room remaining. 4, in fact. Incineroar, Fake Out onto the Chiyu. Nice little chunk of damage to the weird fish. Hyper Voice onto the Chiyu as well. Not going to do enough to knock out. Geo obviously flinches, and Fluttermane with the Dazzling Gleam shouldn't be enough to knock out either of them. Gets very close, though. Can another Hyper Voice finish off this Chiyu? That's, I think, the critical question here. Even when Geo's Fluttermane switches back in, it will... Ooh, it's going to be the Flare Blitz onto the Fluttermane. Gets a one-hit knockout. Big damage. A lot more damage I was anticipating out of that Incineroar. It'll drop to recoil. There goes the Incineroar. Falling down. Does the Hyper Voice finish off this Chiyu? Indeed it does. Vergiraff might also drop to recoil, but the Fluttermane in the back will guarantee the victory for Geo. Game number 1. Touch and go for a while. The critical hit on the Moonblast certainly helping Geo through that one. Getting that extra damage onto the Ogerpon. But now we'll see. What adaptations can Keanu make in game number 2? Does Keanu need to make any adaptations? Keanu is playing very, very well throughout that set, or throughout that first game, and likely would have been able to handle it if that Ogerpon crit had not gone through. There are always changes to make. Geo's almost certainly going to be making some adaptations after that game number 1, and Keanu's got to make them as well. Keanu did a good job of reading Geo's moves in game number 1, and so any adaptations are very important here in game number 2. Get underway pretty quickly. Keanu and Giovanni at 3-1 in round 5. Both these players very likely to make it to round number, or to top cut. But regardless, still could be a preview of the later stages of the bracket if both these players move that far. Incineroar for Giraffe for Geo, Tornadus and Glamora for Keanu. Totally different start for Keanu this time. And there are a lot of options available. Tornadus has the opportunity to Tailwind, has the opportunity to Sunny Day, can go for a Bleak Wind, can go for a Protect. Glamora, this is Toxic Debris with Power Orb and Meteor Beam, Sludge Bomb, Earth Power, and Spiky Shield. Could be a double Protect turn from Keanu. Instead, Tornadus is going to swap out of there. Not a great idea to fake out the Glamora if you are Geo, and that might be what Keanu is waiting on. Is just going to do it anyways. That means that a lot of Pokemon are going to get poisoned on Geo's side. Glamora will flinch, not able to get its move off, and Trick Room will get up. So Geo prioritizing Trick Room over the Toxic Debris could be a dangerous mistake in the later stages of the battle, potentially. As that, we saw what that Toxic Debris could do, and these players are moving reasonably slowly. They've brought much more defensive teams this time. See the Terrastal here. Going to be Terra Water on the Ogerpon on Keanu's side. Going to get that body aspect boost. I keep saying that. We have only seen Wellspring Ogerpons today, which is not shocking. It is extremely popular, one of the most popular Pokemon in the format, but still unusual. Gonna see the Incineroar get out of there. This is an Assault Vest variant with U-turn, as you can see there. The Ogerpon comes in on the other end. And does get poisoned on its way in. Giraffe with a Psychic onto the Glamora. That's gonna do a lot of damage. That's gonna knock out the Glamora. Again, that with a critical hit. Glamora, not the most bulky thing in the world, but when it gets hit like that, yeah, it gets hit like that. And that means we'll see very little out of that, and the Water Absorb from that Ogerpon going to mean that that doesn't affect it at all. Wasn't missing any HP when it came in. We'll see Urshifu coming in now. This Urshifu is... we saw it in the last battle from Keanu. But Keanu in a little bit of a tough spot now. Does have a nice matchup here in this moment, at least. We are still under Trick Room. I do think Geo's Ogerpon is going to be slower than Keanu's, but it's going to be close. We'll get to follow me regardless, so it won't matter. Any Furdraft going for a little Hyper Voice. I say little, it did a lot of damage there. Close combat into the Ogerpon, that'll knock it out. One hit knockout. So Ogerpon does its job. If you can call eating a close combat and keeping the Furdraft standing its job. And a Horn Leech onto the Furdraft does some okay damage. Pretty okay damage, all things considered. A little bit of healing back onto that Ogerpon. And Geo's Urshifu is what comes in return now. This one's Terra Stellar. They're both single strike, but this one's Terra Stellar. And is now poisoned. Does have the Focus Sash, but that won't matter since it'll drop next turn regardless. If it's brought down to 1 HP, it'll drop to the poison. Geo should have maybe not a speed advantage, but apparently somewhere in that vicinity. I actually believe that Keanu's Urshifu will move first here. Well, compared to Geo's Urshifu, but Keanu's Urshifu will also get hit by the... by the Furdraft. Potentially by that Hyper Voice. Finishing it off, indeed it will. Tornadus takes a lot of damage there. Might get knocked out. It's going to be Wicked Blow, and I think that will knock out the Tornadus. Indeed it will. Ogerpon will be the only one left. And the Toxic Debris, definitely meaningful, but not as meaningful when Urshifu and Farigiraf are just bowling people over. As they are now. And you know it's not a great game for Keanu when your Pokemon are still holding on to their items, when your Urshifu is still holding on to its Focus Sash, when your Glamora is still holding on to its Power Orb. So to not get to use either of those, which is not good. Pretty bad, in fact. Furdraft Hyper Voice, going to do some good damage actually. And the Urshifu Wicked Blow actually coming for the Ogerpon, and that'll finish it off. Giovanni Costa with the 2-0 victory in round number 5. He'll move on to Top Cut for sure. Keanu most likely going to float through to Top Cut as well, but have to sweat it out just a teensy bit more. And yeah, just one of those nice clean sets that we're used to seeing from Geo. Very well done, all things considered. Hello, it's me again. As a reminder, we are supporting Child's Play in this QR code. I like pointing at the QR code. I don't know why. It's fun. Definitely donate. They do great work. You can find out more at childsplaycharity.org. And with that, we are going to step away. We'll be away for a bit, and we'll be back with the quarterfinals in Top Cut. Don't go anywhere.